The Detroit Lions are in desperate need of some pass rushing help, and Aiden Hutchinson is the best that we have. We have the land before time. Bruce Irvin coming hopefully against the New Orleans Saints on December 3rd, and James Houston should eventually come back from injured reserve. If only the Detroit Lions could get some help on the defensive line. Wait a minute. Derek Barnett has been waived today. Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Coming from Adam Schefter. This was from earlier this morning or this afternoon. Says the Eagles are waiving defensive end Derek Barnett today per source. The 14th overall pick of the 2017 draft is expected to draw interest and find a new home soon. Now, this is unfortunate. Again, it is never unfortunate to be a good team, but unlike with Josh Reynolds, when in the waiver wire before, the Detroit Lions are a good team this time around. And while when Darius Leonard was waived the other day, we were 31st on the waiver wire. We are now 29th, falling 2 spots. We're not the second best team in the NFL anymore. We are down to the 4th. So Derek Barnett would have to get to this team, get all the way down to basically no team beneath us would have to put in a claim for Derek Barnett for us to be able to get him. Now, of course, if he clears waivers, then he can sign anywhere he wants to. I'm going to say that this Derek Barnett is a totally different situation from Darius Leonard, and he will not clear waivers. I hope that he does, but we are probably not going to see this happen, but I want to talk about it anyway. Now, I am dealing with people on Twitter that don't understand what's happening with the Detroit Lions. Yesterday was another game with 0 sacks. We had 2 in the Chicago Bear game on Sunday. We had none against the Chargers. And then we had the few against Jimmy G, right? If against good teams, good offensive lines, we cannot get to the quarterback. We're going to do another video later today talking about what's going on, in my opinion, with Aiden Hutchinson. All right. But so the lack of sacks with Derek Barnett is completely different from what the stat sheet shows. I know I talk about stats a lot. I bring in stats a lot and the actual getting to the quarterback because it does matter, but you also have to be used a certain way. And Derek Barnett's time in Philadelphia has decreased exponentially, right? So here is Derek Barnett was a first-round pick out of Tennessee in 2017. He is under 30 years old, so he would be 27. I believe he turned 27 this year, and his playing time has decreased so much so he has 1 tackle all season long. He's also played in 8 games, which tells you that, all you need to do is probably take 1 snap to count as playing in 1 games. In per game. So I'm not sure if there's a limited snap count or a minimum amount of snaps that you need to take to be in the game. But I would say no. If you take 1 snap, that's going to count toward the game. So he has 0 sacks this season in 8 games, 2 the year before, 5.5, 6.5, 2.5, 5, with 21.5 in his career. Don't let the two sacks in a season and a half fool you. It's all about the position that you're putting in and what your assignment is on the field. Now, this guy is a defensive end. He is a pass rusher. Unlike Darius Leonard, who is an off-ball linebacker, this guy is a pass rusher. And we are at the point where anything is better than what we have, even Bruce Irvin. That's how much of a hole Brad Holmes has put us in. So I'm going to be very critical. All my attention is going to go to Brad Holmes. You had an entire offseason. You had 3 drafts. You got 2 defensive ends in your entire draft. Now, you could say Derek Barnes played defensive end, went to linebacker, right? Romeo Okwara doing nothing. Julian Okwara doing nothing. Charles Harris is doing nothing, right? John Kaminsky hasn't done anything. The Hutch has 5.5 sacks. The closest person is Aleem McNeil, who has 5. That's a problem. You have a defensive end with 5.5. And you have a defensive tackle with 4. There's nobody even close to those 2 guys. Our other defensive ends, pure defensive ends, have none. Nothing compared to these 2, right? I think Charles Harris, I have to go look at the stats, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Now you see, just for reference, okay? Since Chase Young is a wash, and sometimes it's not about what the person does per se if they get the sacks. It's about helping your teammates. It's about taking pressure off your teammates. Since the 3 games, since the 49ers traded for Chase Young, they got a total of 15 sacks. They got 6 last night. A season high of 6 last night against the Seattle Seahawks, which we sacked Geno Smith one time with a busted offensive line. And that one tackle was a fluke, right? That one sack was a fluke. He was scrambling, threw it, tried to throw it. Alexander's only tackled him. That was our one sack on Geno Smith. He's a mobile quarterback, and they wrapped him up. They destroyed him yesterday. So it's not necessarily about the other person getting to the quarterback. It's about the pressure they could take off other people. Now, let's look at Derek Barnett and look at his salary. This year, 27 years old, his base salary was $1.1 million. That's what his base salary was. So you could probably sign him right now for $500,000. $500,000 to get him on this team. Now, this is a guy, and I actually made a video about Derek Barnett earlier this year, and I said this is the kind of guy. It was about maybe a month or two, maybe six weeks ago, and I was talking about this is the kind of guy that Brad Holmes would go after. So, unfortunately, Derek Barnett will most likely not clear waivers. He probably won't. Not with his cap and all that. He's probably going to get wrapped up by a team by this time tomorrow. So, it's worth making a video about because you never know. Stranger things have happened. Maybe nobody does put a claim for him. I highly doubt that he makes it to the Detroit Lions, which would be essentially like clearing waivers because we're so low on the priority. But you never know, man. But we got to get something. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. We're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs if we can't get to the quarterback. And that's just the fact. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Something is better than nothing. And yes, Bruce Irvin, I do realize Bruce Irvin is something, but come on, y'all. We can't. If we brought in Derek Barnett, I assure you he would get to the quarterback more than Julian and Romeo combined. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.